Hello and welcome to Cruciatus demo number 2. So in this demo I adjusted some things from demo 1, I added some new things, in order to know exactly what's going on I highly advise you to watch the demonstration of the previous version, because right now I might pay less attention to the mm, the very simple stuff that I already explained. Okay, so what's the major change from the previous version is that now, so that's why I am in pause menu right now. So now we have a timer attached. So if you ever played one of the modern World of Warcraft expansions, the system is very similar to the Mythic Plus system from that game. So we have a dungeon filled with enemies. Whenever we kill an enemy, we feel a bar of completion. There is a timer to the dungeon, so we have to complete the dungeon in a given time. There is also a boss in the end of the dungeon, which actually has its own abilities in this demo. And to complete the dungeon, we have to fill the bar to 100% and also kill the boss. Okay. I think we can start, and the rest I'll try to explain on the go. Okay, so from the previous version, I'll just start to clear the dungeon, and I'll talk in the background. So from the previous version, the major thing that changed, you can probably already see it, is how the opponents work. So I had in the previous demo, I had my own pathfinding system attached to enemies. So I actually just looked up the algorithm and I implemented it myself for my needs. The problem was that I really did not pay enough attention to optimization of the algorithm. So whenever I had a very large amount of enemies in a very confined space, the problem was that it was just not optimal enough and just annoying to watch. So I actually found a free asset that has very broad amount of options, which implements A-star pathfinding. So the same one I used, but it is done very optimally. So now enemies just depend on this pathfinding, because before the enemies actually were switching. Whenever enemies were close to a wall, they switched to my version of A-star, and if they were in open space, they switched to just follow the player mode. So no pathfinding basically. So in that way, they behaved a little bit more naturally, we can say, because right now if you look at the guy that tries to kill me, we can see that he's sliding a little bit, so I didn't manage to make the pathfinding ideal yet. Because actually the enemy all the time depends on the pathfinding. Okay, and now I just remembered that in the previous demo there was no item system. So here we can see whenever we beat enemies, items drop. Whenever we click on the items, just like any other modern action RPG, we just pick up the item, and we have inventory system. Whenever we click I key, we see that we have a list type inventory system. So whenever we mouse over an item, we can see in the preview what item is it, we can see the icon, and we can see what statistics actually it gives us. So there is actually statistics are actually attached already to the game. So for example, here spell power just scales our abilities damage a little bit, and armor gives us resistance to physical damage. Yeah, and in the type section of the inventory, we can see what type the item is. We can equip only one item of a type. So basically you can think of the type as armor type. So let's say Morganite could be equal to helmet and ruby could be equal to chest armor. Now I just made my own system, which actually the stone name, so ruby, morganite, etc., bixbyte. They are just stones that are in our necklace because our character is a mage, so that's thematically fitting. Whenever we press inventory button, the game doesn't pause, so we can see our time is close to expiring. So it doesn't stop expiring, it's still expiring. That's what I meant to say. And we can see if we pick up the item, it just appears at the bottom of the list, and we can also equip it. Because we didn't equip Aquamarine yet, so we just equip it. Also, it's fully functional, so whenever we have Morganite attached, we see a better Morganite, we click on Morganite, so previous gets unequipped. And we can see if an item is equipped or not by looking if it has an arrow next to it or not. So if it has an arrow, it's obvious that it's equipped. Okay, and here we can see we have scaled damage. So the spell power we equipped actually scales our damage. We can see it here on top of the our enemy's nameplate. By nameplate I mean just the HP bar. And we can see we can with ease just pull more enemies. And there's no drawback on the performance. Maybe a little bit of drawback on particle effects, the hit particle effect with AoE attacks, but that is also very easily adjustable. I just didn't have time yet to adjust it. And with enemies dying, we can see our progress bar filling and the percentage number also going up. Okay. I wonder if we have enough percentage to just go ahead and get to a boss room and finish the level, because in the beginning there was some additional rooms that you can actually skip if you manage to get the percentage without those rooms. So I actually do not remember if I killed enough of the enemies to just now easily be able to go to the boss room and then finish the level. We're gonna see.
Not ready yet.
Okay, another thing I now know that I noticed there wasn't in the previous demo is Tooltip System. So it is just the simple tooltip system known to basically any RPG game. Whenever you just hover over a spell, you just see the name of a spell and the short description. Also, in case of some spells, we can see the cooldown. So whenever it has a cooldown, just adds the cooldown number, the seconds needed to recharge for the spell. Okay, I'll not pick those items up just to save a little bit of time, because my talking just took a little bit too much, I think. The tuning of the level is not nearly as perfect as it could be yet, but it's actually, from my testing so far, it seems like it's not very easy. I manage to not complete it quite often, so with me talking it will be, the difficulty will probably be increased. But now I'll show you in a second another system that is new, which is chest system. So it's actually not that different from the door system, which I already showcased in demo number 1. Here we have a door, so let's quickly try to open it. Okay, we got lucky with the other slider. If you want details on the door picking system, you can just watch the demo number 1, which I talk in detail there about it. Okay, we have 3.5 minutes left. We have 2 stacks, which I didn't use. I just popped 2 instant disintegrates to fill my spirit bar. Okay, we're gonna beat them, and now here you can see the chest. I'll show you how it works. So it's just really simple. You can walk up to it. There's a slider just like in the door picking system. Lock picking system, in fact. So there's only one slider. It was very simple, and now you can see the items dropped. And just like with enemies, by clicking we pick them up, and you can see them in our inventory list. Okay, so let's just progress further. Try to get to the boss before the timer expires. So here I see we'll be okay on the count, so okay on the percentage of dungeon completion. So it will mostly depend on us being able to beat the boss in the desired amount of time. Okay,
I can't do that yet.
let's quickly get to the boss room. So this is actually a relatively hard lockpicking system. Let's try lockpick it as fast as we can without going into too much detail. Okay, we got pretty lucky with the random generation. Here we can see we entered the boss room, so the door automatically closed. Here we can see we cannot go through this. And now we can aggro the boss. So here we already saw first attack the boss does. So we saw a telegraph, the yellow arrows that telegraph what the boss will do in a couple of seconds. So it's a simple dash ability which whenever it hits us it deals damage, and another ability which the boss just throws a spiky balls in a cone style directions, and whenever we get hit by the ball we obviously take damage. And there is a little bit of empty space in between balls, so even if we don't manage to get away from the cone entirely, there is a chance that we'll be able to...
Not ready yet.
There is a chance that we'll be able to dodge it anyway. Okay, so we've got 10 seconds, we probably won't be able to beat the boss. Here we can see it actually for some reason stopped working.
Item is too far away.
Here we can see timer expiring. We just got a debuff that deals a percentage of our max health every second. Okay, and the dungeon just reset. So yeah, there was just after beating the boss, there was another door and there was an exit, so there's no much else to add. Thanks for watching.